Hi, Paraton Weather Meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Wednesday morning, July 14th. Another very humid day here in the Mid-Atlantic region. We're starting the day with plenty of low clouds and patchy fog. That will give way to partly to mostly sunny skies and yet another chance for late day and evening showers and thunderstorms in much of the Mid-Atlantic region. It's not only the Mid-Atlantic region that has a pretty wet overall weather pattern in recent days. Much of the eastern two-thirds of the nation, all the way from the southwestern states to the east coast, will experience some rainfall over the next 5 days, and in some cases it'll be substantial rainfall amounts. I think there's a pretty decent chance, as a matter of fact, for some heavy rainfall in the Mid-Atlantic region during that Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday time frame with the stalling out of a frontal system. Before we get into the weather situation across the continental U.S., let's take a look at the latest sea surface temperatures around the globe and talk a little bit about what prospects there are later in the year and going into the upcoming winter season. This is the latest sea surface temperature anomaly map from Canadian's Met Center. A couple areas of interest I want to point out. First of all, we still have some signs of La Nina conditions here across the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean. This is the west coast of South America here. This horizontal line here represents the equator, the latitude of the equator, and notice some cooler than normal waters continue to exist out across the central part of the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean. We've had La Nina conditions really for the past several months, and there are some signs that while it goes to near neutral over the next few months, it may intensify again as we head through the fall into the perhaps into the upcoming winter season. We'll see some model forecasts coming up shortly here. Also, look at this area here of above normal temperatures kind of tucked into the northeastern part of the Pacific Ocean. That will be something we watch over the coming months as we head into the winter season and try to formulate a winter forecast. And right now temperatures are colder than normal off the west coast of the U.S. and we expected that to happen, and that's why when we put out our summertime outlook, our tropical outlook, we expected basically hot and dry conditions throughout much of the western part of the nation. Indeed, whenever you have colder than normal water temperatures, it tends to suppress upward motion in the atmosphere, and weather systems tend to move from west to east across the U.S. So if you're suppressing upward motion along the west coast and just off the west coast with these chilly ocean temperatures, chances are you're going to have less precipitation than normal. So again, a hot, dry summer should continue out across much of the western U.S. going into the fall season. Unfortunately, that is likely to result in an active wildfire season going on from the summer all the way through the upcoming fall. So these are the areas of interest that we're really focused in on over the next few months. Well, here's a compilation of model forecasts for ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation state here, whether or not we'll have a El Nino or a La Nina over the next few months. And again, starting to look ahead to the upcoming winter season. This is the neutral line going across right here, and anything up in this territory represents El Nino. Anything down here, La Nina. And again, right now we have generally weak La Nina conditions, and these are the forecasts going forward. And generally speaking, the compilation here shown in blue represents La Nina conditions. This is all the way into the December, January, February time frame here. This is one of the averages of all of these models. These are kind of a series of different types of model, dynamical models and statistical models. But in general, most of these keep La Nina conditions in existence across the equatorial part of the Pacific Ocean, and in many cases it actually deepens or it intensifies. It gets a little more cold relative to normal going into the fall season and into the upcoming winter season. So this is something we'll monitor closely over the next few months, as it will have a big impact not only on the hurricane season going forward into the fall season, let's say, but also on the upcoming winter season across the continental U.S. Well, in the short term, let's take a look at the rainfall projection here. This is by NOAA's prediction center, forecast prediction center, and it again shows us quite a wet weather pattern for the eastern two-thirds of the nation. This part of the country going to the east, quite a lot of rainfall in many areas. Look at all this out across the heartland, up across the Great Lakes, even the Mid-Atlantic region. And again, I think there's a possibility of kind of a heavy rain setup in the Saturday, Sunday, maybe Monday time frame here, with a possibility of stalled out frontal system. And by the way, there can be showers or thunderstorms late today, tonight, again on Friday in the Mid-Atlantic region. And any storm that forms over the next few days can produce some heavy rainfall, given the high humidity levels that we're experiencing, not only in the Mid-Atlantic region, but really throughout much of the eastern half of the nation. Look at all this precipitation all the way out into the southwestern U.S. Again, kind of a monsoonal flow, low-level flow of air coming out of the south, coming out of the east, pouring moisture into places like Arizona, western New Mexico, and even some of those areas can get some significant rainfall over the next 5 days. This happens to be a 5-day forecast from NOAA ending on Monday morning of next week. Well, let's take a look now at the operational run of the GFS from 6Z last night. And as is typical this time of the year, you have kind of a minimal coverage of precipitation as we begin the day, but then you add in a few hours of daytime heating to go along with this high humidity, and watch what happens. You get an expansion of the green here. In other words, a better chance of showers and thunderstorms later in the day and into the evening hours throughout much of the Mid-Atlantic region, northeastern part of the nation. This is a key player. It has been for several days now and will continue to be for the next few days. Strong high pressure over the western Atlantic Ocean just pumps in, continuous pumping in of warm and humid air flowing from the southwest to the northeast on the backside of that high pressure system. That will keep some very warm and humid air throughout much of the eastern half of the nation going into the upcoming weekend. Let's now move forward here. Thursday, probably the best chance of rain-free conditions throughout the day in places like D.C., Philadelphia, New York City. Cannot completely rule out a shower or thunderstorm, but they should be really isolated on Thursday afternoon and evening as compared to this afternoon and yesterday afternoon as an example. This is the Thursday morning forecast, and look upstream here. We have a healthy looking frontal system crossing the upper part of the Midwest. Notice also moisture into Arizona. Again, that's kind of that monsoonal flow of air this time of the year. Let's now move forward here. Again, a frontal system sliding slowly to the south and east. By the time we get into Friday morning, it's producing a pretty good area of rain extending from southeastern Canada all the way into the Midwest. And again, this is the area that this frontal system that moves into the eastern states on Saturday. It tends to stall out right in this area right here, and I think that could lead to potential for some heavy rainfall throughout much of the eastern U.S., including the Mid-Atlantic region, probably in the Saturday, Sunday, maybe even Monday time frame, as that frontal system will not go anywhere. Here we are all the way into Sunday, and still the threat of some rainfall. It won't be as hot by the time we get to the second half of the upcoming weekend in the Mid-Atlantic region. Highs probably on Sunday, low to mid-80s in that I-95 corridor region from D.C. to New York City, as compared to the well up in the 90s by the time we get to the end of the work week. So watch out for the potential of a heavy rain event in the eastern part of the nation this upcoming weekend. Until we get there, very humid, very warm, chance of late day showers and thunderstorms today in much of the Mid-Atlantic region, and really a wet overall weather pattern going forward for much of the eastern two-thirds of the nation. And longer term, we'll certainly keep an eye on the possibility of a re-intensifying La Nina as we head through the late fall towards the upcoming winter season. That's it for now. For ParatonWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.